2. "Luke! Where's that coffee?" came the cry through the closed door separating their offices. "Coming, sir." Luke flicked a switch on the intercom console and lowered his voice. "Diana, coffee for His Highness, and don't spare the horses. I forgot to say before." "Tut, tut. I'll make it up to you." "Don't feel you have to," came back her lazy drawl of a reply. Diana appeared in his office a few minutes later, carrying a tray. Today she had her hair pinned back behind her ears, which, like everything else about her, were petite and perfectly formed. She knew what he thought of her ears. There was a time, not so long ago, when he had been allowed to tell her such things. "Shall I do the honours?" she asked. "No, I'll take it through. I need to go over some papers with him." Diana placed the tray on his desk. There was a letter propped between the coffee pot and the sugar bowl. "This just came for you." He was surprised to see his father's crabbed handwriting. Luke Hamilton, the British Embassy, Rue de Fonbon, Saint-Honoré, Paris. "Everything all right?" "Yes." He tilted his head at the tray. "And thank you." He waited for her to leave before tearing open the envelope. "My dear Luke, it is with a heavy heart that I am writing to you so soon after my last letter, and I'm very sorry to say that you will find nothing dreary or rambling about this one." Luke knew he was walking, but the ground felt dull beneath his feet, as though the paving stones were made of India rubber. The other pedestrians seemed to flit around him like phantasms. Not just dead, murdered, bludgeoned to death. How was it possible? How could anyone? Sister Agnes, of all people, and for what? Some candlesticks and a handful of other near-worthless trinkets? Grief and impotent rage scrambled his thoughts. The first person he had ever known, ever loved, his mentor and guide for the first 7 years of his life. She had taught him to read and write, taught him the names of the trees and the birds, taught him right from wrong, scolding him when he strayed and praising him when he excelled. She had wiped blood from his knees, snot from his nose, tears from his eyes, and when the influenza tried to take him, she had sat at his bedside in the sanatorium and laid cold compresses on his burning body to keep him from slipping away. Where was the logic? Where was the justice? Where, he asked himself, was her God when she needed him? He knew what she would have replied. That the book was already written, and even if we could not see our place in the story, we could be sure that it was a good book, with a very fine ending. Not such a fine ending for her, though, and very nearly a rotten one for Luke, too, when crossing Avenue George V. Lost in a sombre trance, he looked the wrong way as he stepped off the pavement and was almost struck by a speeding lorry. Shaken by the close call, he found a vacant bench in some welcome shade and fumbled a cigarette between his lips. A moment of distraction, a blur of hurtling steel, certain death mere inches from the tip of his nose. What unsettled him most, though, was that for a split second, it wouldn't have mattered. Paris had been moving to the beat of the Exposition Internationale since the beginning of the year, when the first pavilions had begun to spring up along the banks of the Seine. The site of the World Fair, as most people called it, lay at the heart of the city. Straddling the lazy bend in the river between the Pont de la Concorde and the Pont de Grenelle. This was Luke's third visit. His first had been in late May, to attend the official opening of the British Pavilion, a fashionably cuboid building that looked like a large packing case, dropped beside the Pont d'Iéna by a passing giant. After the interminable speeches, they had strolled around the exhibits, champagne flutes in hand, cooing politely to those involved while privately pondering the scale of the disaster. This was supposed to be a showcase for the